And tonight on our Great American Panel, radio talk show host Mary Walter is here. She, an associate professor of political science at Occidental College and a writer for Ms. Blog. Caroline Heldman is back, and Fox News legal analyst, the one and only Peter Johnson Jr., also back with us. All right, so House Republicans passed 3 bills. They passed the Ryan plan. They passed cut, cap, and balance. They move forward now with and they're introduced a 3rd plan by Speaker Boehner. We don't know if it would pass or not. Can you tell me, Caroline, what is the president's plan?
Well, the president wouldn't be proposing a plan because it needs to come from Congress. And the president has said that he will go after Social Security and Medicare, which for someone on the left is morally
Show me where I can look at something. Because
why would the president have a plan? It needs to come from Congress. And the plans that you just introduced are 3 Republican plans that had no hope of passage.
What is the Democratic Party's plan? Because guess what? They have one House of Congress.
Reid's plan. In fact, in the green room, we were talking about how close Reid and Boehner are, that it's actually to a point where they could compromise in conference committee, but Boehner is choosing not to because he wants to bring it up again in 6 months to smear the president.
Wait a minute. $1 trillion of the Reid plan comes from savings achieved by other things, troop withdrawals from Iraq and Afghanistan, which have already been counted. Here's the point. The president's going to veto the Boehner plan. Right. Dead on arrival, according to Harry Reid. They already passed 2 plans that they won't sign on to or even allow a vote on. So
massive failure of leadership, and the president, who has decried Fox News, has now adopted the balanced approach of Fox News as his mantra going forward, which is which is quite interesting. But the professor's comment, although I won't adopt it because it seems to be extreme language, is the president's policy is morally reprehensible. I think it is reprehensible.
Going after the elderly, going after Medicare, I think that's morally reprehensible.
Exactly, and to say, oh, I don't know, call your Congress people and pressure them to come up with a plan. And today you have people, the press corps of the White House, jumping like fish out of water, saying, hey, Mr. Press Secretary, what's the plan? Yeah. What are you saying?
This is the point, is the Republicans keep putting plans out there. Right. Democrats either won't vote on them or they announce them dead on arrival or I'll veto it, and they don't offer an alternative. And Caroline's saying they have put forward plans, and the president is using old people, scaring them in this debate, scaring the military, none of which is true because we'd still take in $200 billion a month. So what are the Democrats? We're waiting. We're 7 days away.
And to your point, Caroline, about, well, it has to come from Congress. If this president were a leader, he would sit down with these guys in the White House and work out some kind of a plan with them. It may not necessarily come from
Boehner walked away.
But he would sit down. He's not leading. He's not putting anything out. Look at Geithner with Chris Wallace. And Chris tried 6 ways from Sunday to try to get him to say, what is your plan if the debt ceiling is not passed? And he either doesn't have a plan or he doesn't want anybody to know what his plan is. And I think they don't have a plan. They don't know what they're going to do. Nobody has a plan. And
you're right. The president's scaring everybody, and he's using all these catastrophe, disaster, doomsday rhetoric.
Sean, there's going to be a 44% cut if we don't do something. So it's not.
We've had an 84% increase in discretionary spending under Obama. We have $4 trillion of Obama debt. We had Obama's budgets pass, Obama's stimulus pass, his health care plan passed.
Let's be clear.
And look where we are.
He has contributed 10% to this problem.
Excuse me, more than 10%.
No
president has accumulated this amount of debt and deficits like this guy.
As a result of the lowest revenue in 60 years, wars that he didn't get us into, one that he did get us into and should not have gotten us into.
And what the president needs to contribute at this point is great leadership. Right. He said that he had the capacity to lead. He said he had the capacity to forge coalitions. We need to call upon him, as his experience in forging coalitions, to forge a coalition in Washington between diverse groups.
He promised he'd cut the deficit in half. He promised unemployment would stay below 8%.
Right.
He begged for the job, and all he does, he starts last night's speech blaming
all unrequited promises. And I watched it, and I spoke to my family members, and I spoke to a lot of friends. That was not the tone that Democrats or Republicans was looking.
77% of people now blame Republicans.
And if this is the best advocate for the president, then
he spun it correctly.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. No, I'm not saying it's true. I'm saying
the president is getting in the 30s on metrics on the economy.
Yes, but when it comes to who they think is to blame for this, they are blaming Republicans.
No,
and
even Stan Greenberg says blaming Republicans isn't working anymore. We have more with our Great American Panel, and we'll be fighting during the break. Straight ahead. And we continue now with our great American panel. All right, now, things are so bad. We've got White House advisors, senior advisors, warning of a possible depression. Let's take a look.
We are 7 days away from an unprecedented financial event in this country's history, one that could potentially put us towards a depression, because the House Republicans, led by Speaker Boehner, are unwilling to compromise 1 inch.
All right, now, I think it's inevitable. S&P has said it's a better than 50% chance, regardless of the deal, we're going to be downgraded. We've been downgraded by another less-known credit agency. Sure. Moody's pretty much has said it's going to happen. This is all on the president's watch. They're saying this may be a depression. And this is what the president goes out. We've got to live within our means. We have $4 trillion of Obama debt. We need to make tough choices. He has spent like a drunken sailor on steroids. He says we need a bipartisan approach, and he has done nothing but inject partisanship, including this horrible speech last night.
Well, this notion of a depression and a financial meltdown in the world, that's fine to discuss, but there has to be a concomitant set of actions. You can't abdicate your authority as president and throw it out to the masses and say we need public pressure to foster a solution. He needs to say, this is my solution. Let's debate this. You Republicans are debating this. I have a solution that I think is going to satisfy everyone. You may all not like it at this point, but I'm stepping out with it. And so to engage in fear-mongering and to make people afraid, and people are afraid when they hear this, because they say, my mutual funds, my IRA, the stock market, what's a treasury bill going to be worth? Is my mortgage going to go up? What's the consequences of this? And to throw all that out and at the same time not come forward with a constructive solution that engages all Americans, that's wrong.
This now goes to Caroline, because you're right. And I agree with you. And add to that 18% real unemployment. Add to that all the Americans whose homes, their key investment is underwater. This is a real problem. And we're sitting on another housing bubble. And you're sitting here saying it's up to Congress. We're 7 days away from what his own advisors are saying, a depression. And he doesn't have the leadership skills. Every leader in business I've ever met would never allow this to happen. And this shows his lack of experience, and he's in over his head.
Sean, we've never seen partisan politics like we've seen
from him
at this present time. No, mostly from both sides, but mostly from the Republicans, an extreme branch of the Republicans. And so President Obama, if he were to put his name on anything, which wouldn't, it's not the way legislation works.
There's
Budget
never
bills,
been a speech delivered like that from the White House.
Exactly.
He was telling the American public.
That is not informational.
No, he was trying to move us past partisanship. It's very clear in his speech that the American public believe that. Well, again, 77%.
Last night he blamed everybody, lashed out as everybody. Go ahead.
And that's what he does. This president is very good at blaming everybody but him. He doesn't want to own anything. And when he was a senator, he voted present more than he voted yea or nay. He doesn't want to own anything because it's all about re-election for him. So all he does is sit up and blame everybody else but himself.
I didn't hear him blame. He didn't blame anyone last night.
Yes, he did.
He blamed the Republicans.
Absolutely.
Peter, let me ask you a question. Would these adjectives be accurate? Arrogant, angry, immature, petulant?
Compromise,
I think they would be.
Compromise.
I hope in the end that they are not accurate.
I'm asking up to this point. I'm not trying to put you on the spot.
Well, it's not putting me on the spot. At this moment, unfortunately, they're accurate. We need coalition building, and we need some prayers, and we need people to come together on this issue and say, let's get it resolved in a way that the country goes forward, and that we say to the world, we are united, we are strong, we are the world's leader in finance, we are the world's leader in geopolitics. Look at the U.S. Don't look at the U.S. squabbling with each other and a president vilifying one party who happens to be out of power.
We are going to be Greece. We can't
possibly be Greece.
Yes,
we can coin our own internationally traded currency. There's no way we will ever be Greece. That doesn't even make sense.
5 years will be Greece.
5 years will be Greece.
Yes.
You agree?
Look at Japan.
Yes.
We don't have the same economic policy. That doesn't even make sense.
Thank you for being with us.
5 years.
And coming up, there's been a lot of talk